Hey everybody, this is Tyler Vanderhoeven. In a previous video and article, I went through my Meteor production environment setup, how I deploy all of my apps built on Meteor to production environments. And it's a bit drawn out, a bit involved, and a common criticism is that it's much easier to just use MUP to get applications up and running, but there's a huge issue with that, and that's rolling deployments. So whenever you deploy a Meteor application, it runs on Docker, MUP runs on Docker, it falls out for about 5 to 10 seconds where your application's completely out. For a lot of sites, like blogs and content sites, it's not a huge issue, but for APIs or applications that need to be up, and really honestly, any modern production level application should be up continually and never go down. Especially not for something as simple as just updating code. Like there are errors that bring down sites and bugs and things, but deploying your site shouldn't take it down. So I'm just going to walk through sort of the issue that we have so you can sort of see it in action, and then the solution and how it sort of gets around that. So I have my classic click game example, and I'm running it in my local machine right now. It's calling a get endpoint. So if we actually just go here real quick, this is just by way of test. If we go to this site and we we get request to this endpoint, we should get a JSON response back that just says hello from the server. So we're just going to call that continually. So let's just pretend like this is a super popular API. So calling it from another application, in this instance, the local environment, I'm just going to call that at an interval of every half a second. So if we save that, go back over to my local host, once this save and refreshes, you notice here in the console that it's going to ping back the response. There it is, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're making that request, got a super popular API. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open up my deploy. So if we only had one instance, every time we deploy, when it gets to the Meteor start and verify, it actually shuts down the whole server. So we'll see over on the side here a whole bunch of errors pop up once it gets to that point. There we go. You can see the errors starting to pop up there. Start Meteor means the Meteor just stopped, ironically. And so we're going to be popping in all of these errors. Kind of looks like there's only a few, but scroll bar gets bigger and bigger. And eventually, they all come back because the server just went back up again. The problem is we don't want those errors. So the way we combat that is by creating 2 deployments and then allowing a mechanic to hold the rollover. I'm actually just going to go in here and duplicate primary, call it secondary. And all we need to change in this secondary MUP settings is the name, secondary, or whatever, and the port name to 3002. Everything else should be good. We'll go into our settings here. We'll update the clicking to the backends 3000, 3002. We'll get a new tab here. We'll CD into our secondary. We'll set up MUP. So this will set up the 3002 port. Should be a little bit faster than the first one. Most of Docker's already set up, and then we can just MUP deploy to get that second port instance of the app running. All right, that's done. We're just going to go over here real quick and do a Docker check, make sure we've got those 2 images running at the 2 separate ports, primary and secondary. Very good. Now I'm going to go back to this, start this running, go back to our app and make sure that it's actually making those calls, and then we're going to go ahead and do a MUP deploy on our primary and see if we ever get any errors. Very good. Primary, MUP, deploy. it goes, starting Meteor. That's when 3000 goes down. Looks like mechanics redirecting our traffic appropriately, no errors. Verifying deployment. There we go, done. No errors. Golden. And that's the way Meteor deployments should be done.